750,000 people, 750,000 human souls. All slaughtered in just 60 minutes, not by disease, not by earthquake or flood, but by deliberate, systematic execution so thorough that when the dust settled, even the animals lay lifeless in the streets. The pyramids of human skulls towered so high they were visible from miles across the Persian plains. 3 distinct pyramids, one constructed from the heads of men, another from women, the third from children. The year is 1221, and what unfolds in the city of Nishapur will be recorded as one of the most savage acts of vengeance. But here's what makes this truly insane. This wasn't senseless brutality. This was deeply personal. Because 1 year before, a single arrow changed everything. One arrow launched from a city wall. And the man who commanded this massacre, he wasn't even present to witness it. He was hundreds of miles distant, conquering other territories, constructing an empire that would become the largest continuous land empire. But wait until you discover his motivation, because the reality behind this catastrophe is even more shocking. This wasn't about treasure. This wasn't about expanding borders. This wasn't even about military dominance. This was about something far more primal, something that reaches into the deepest parts of human nature. And to comprehend why an entire metropolis had to be erased from existence, you need to understand the man who ordered its destruction. This is Genghis Khan, one of history's most terrifying military leaders. By his 50s, he's forged an empire stretching from where the sun rises to where it sets. We're discussing 12 million square miles, larger than the entire African continent. Let that sink in. One individual controlling more territory than an entire continent. And he absolutely relished crushing anyone who dared oppose him. At his zenith, Genghis Khan ruled lands containing over 100 million people, approximately 25% of the world's entire population. His armies had slaughtered so many people that forests reclaimed abandoned farmlands and carbon emissions decreased. Historians estimate he was responsible for 40 million deaths. That's 10% of Earth's total population. But how does an abandoned child on the frozen Mongolian steppes end up ordering the complete annihilation of a city of 750,000? How does someone transition from consuming field mice for survival to commanding history's most feared military force? And what could possibly motivate someone to decree that every living creature in a city, down to the last nursing infant, must be executed? This was about something rooted in Genghis Khan's childhood as a boy named Temujin. This was about family. This was about a code of loyalty so absolute that violating it meant total erasure. Genghis Khan wasn't born with that name. He entered the world as Temujin around 1162 in the unforgiving grasslands of Mongolia. When I say unforgiving, I mean temperatures plummeting to minus 40 degrees Celsius, where weakness meant death. His father, Yesugei, was a minor tribal chieftain who was poisoned by enemies when Temujin was merely 9 years old. After Yesugei's death, their family was expelled by their clan, abandoned on the steppes to perish. Imagine being 9 years old, watching your mother desperately excavating roots from frozen earth. It was Temujin's first lesson. In this world, loyalty was everything, and betrayal meant death. But Temujin possessed something exceptional. Where others saw desperate survival, he recognized opportunity. His older half-brother Begtar had been stealing food. In Temujin's world, it ended with an arrow through Begtar's heart. When Hoylun discovered what happened, she was devastated, calling him a destroyer, a predator. But Temujin remained unmoved. The family survived because the traitor was eliminated. He began attracting followers not through noble lineage, but through a simple proposition: absolute loyalty for absolute protection. When he conquered a tribe, he'd execute the leaders who resisted. But the warriors, they became Mongols. A shepherd could become a general if he proved loyal and competent. Birth meant nothing, loyalty meant everything. He began implementing something unprecedented, a legal code called the Yasa. It made betrayal punishable by death, not ordinary death, complete annihilation. Your entire bloodline would be terminated. By 1206, after decades of warfare, Temujin was proclaimed Genghis Khan, universal ruler of all Mongols. Hundreds of thousands of warriors, men who had been slaughtering each other for generations, now united under one man. He created the most disciplined, mobile army the world had ever witnessed. Every soldier had 3 to 4 horses. They could shoot arrows with lethal accuracy while riding at full gallop, each warrior loosing 12 arrows per minute. They carried dried provisions, meaning they didn't require supply lines. His armies moved faster than news of their approach. Cities would awaken surrounded, with no comprehension of how an army had crossed hundreds of miles undetected. Genghis Khan incorporated Chinese siege engineers, Muslim mathematicians, and European craftsmen. Competence and loyalty were paramount. By 1219, Genghis Khan controlled everything from Mongolia to the borders of the powerful Khwarezmian Empire in Persia. He dispatched a trade caravan of 450 merchants with a message of friendship and peace. But the governor of Otrar looked at this caravan and saw not diplomatic opportunity, but personal profit. He accused the merchants of espionage and had them all executed, all 450 of them. When Genghis Khan sent 450 merchants, ambassadors, to demand justice, the Shah made the worst decision of his life. He killed the lead ambassador and sent the others back with their beards shaved. In Mongol culture, this was worse than death. What the Shah didn't realize was that he'd just signed the death warrant for millions of his people. Genghis Khan spent months preparing his response. He mobilized up to 200,000 warriors. Among his generals was Toquchar, known as the Arrow, his son-in-law, married to one of Genghis Khan's daughters. Also riding with the army was Tolui, Genghis Khan's youngest and most beloved son, a tactical genius. The Mongols swept through Khwarezm like a biblical plague. Their strategy was simple and terrifying. Cities that surrendered immediately were spared. Cities that resisted, complete annihilation. The Mongols would drive refugees from destroyed cities toward the next target, spreading tales of horror. The capital Samarkand fell in just 5 days despite having 110,000 defenders. Bukhara, one of Islam's holiest cities with libraries containing hundreds of thousands of books, was burned to the ground. Genghis Khan entered the Grand Mosque, proclaimed himself the punishment of God. The message was clear: your God cannot save you. In April 1220, the Mongol army reached Nishapur, one of Khwarezm's crown jewels. This wasn't just any city. Nishapur was a center of learning, culture, and commerce, home to scholars and poets. The city had a population of around 750,000 people, massive for the medieval period. London had maybe 40,000 people. The city initially surrendered, paying tribute and accepting Mongol governance. It seemed Nishapur might survive the storm. But in November 1220, encouraged by false reports of Mongol defeats, they rebelled. They killed the Mongol garrison and declared independence. They thought they were seizing an opportunity. They were wrong. The Mongols sent a force to retake the city, led by Toquchar, one of Genghis Khan's most trusted generals. The siege was fierce. The defenders knew what happened to cities that resisted twice. But during the siege, something happened that would seal Nishapur's fate forever. An arrow fired from the city walls. One arrow among thousands found a gap in Toquchar's armor. The general fell from his horse. Within minutes, Toquchar was dead. But Toquchar wasn't just any general. He was family. And if there was one thing you've learned about Genghis Khan, it's that crimes against his family demanded a response. When news reached Genghis Khan, witnesses say he didn't rage or scream. He simply gave an order. In April 1221, Genghis Khan's youngest son, Tolui, arrived at Nishapur with his army. But he wasn't alone. With him was Toquchar's widow, Genghis Khan's own daughter, and she had come with specific instructions. The Mongol princess had requested the honor of supervising the city's destruction personally. This wasn't war anymore. This was revenge. The siege lasted only 4 days. The defenders fought desperately, knowing no mercy would be shown. When the walls finally fell, the Mongol princess gave an order that would horrify historians for centuries. Every living thing in the city must die. Not just the soldiers, not just the men. Everyone. The Mongols were methodical about it. They separated the population into groups, assigning soldiers specific quotas. Each Mongol soldier was reportedly responsible for killing 400 civilians. They used swords and axes rather than arrows. They built pyramids of skulls outside the city, separate ones for men, women, and children. When it was over, 750,000 people were dead in a single day. The city's buildings were demolished stone by stone, its foundations torn up, its water channels destroyed. Its fields sown with salt so nothing would grow. Where once stood one of Islam's greatest cities, nothing remained but bones. The Mongol princess reportedly sat on a throne overlooking the destruction, watching until the last building fell. The people who suffered most were the innocent citizens, scholars who had preserved knowledge, merchants who had never held weapons. Mothers who died trying to protect children who died anyway. Personal vengeance magnified by absolute power. The Nishapur massacre sent a message that echoed across continents: resist twice and face complete erasure. Cities from Damascus to Kiev would remember Nishapur. Many chose immediate surrender rather than risk a similar fate. Toward the end of his life, Genghis Khan had transformed from a uniter of tribes to something else entirely. When asked about the greatest pleasure in life, he said, "To crush your enemies, see them driven before you." What drove Genghis Khan wasn't just conquest, but a tribal code where loyalty was everything. And betrayal that touched his family demanded absolute, total retribution. Even today, the ground still remembers the price the innocent paid for one arrow. But Genghis Khan wasn't the most ruthless. That title belongs to Tamerlane, who made skull towers that stood for decades. If you thought this was brutal, wait until you hear what Tamerlane did next. Thank you for watching. Hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next blood-soaked chapter.